My Math Lab homework problem, question number 3, which is textbook problem number 13 in section 5.4, asks you to use symmetry to evaluate this integral. So in order to use symmetry, we have to figure out whether this function is even or odd. So is this even or odd? We know how to deal with it. If it's odd, that's wonderful. That integral is going to be 0. If it's even, we've got to change the limits of integration. The easiest thing to do is change the limits of integration from 0 to 10 and multiply it by 2. So the task at hand really becomes whether to determine whether this function is even or odd. And to do that, we're going to replace x with minus x and see what we get. And determine if the answer is the same, so in other words it's the same y's, or is it a negative y? Okay, or you can look at it as is it f of x or negative f of x. So if it comes out to be negative or the opposite of the y that you get when you replace it with x, then you've got an odd function. If it comes out to be the same, then you have an even function. So let's go about replacing it. So let's look at f of negative x. If I put a negative x into that function, I get negative x. So wherever there's an x, you're going to replace it with negative x. So I get negative x over the square root of 210 minus, and this is a minus x squared. Okay, so let's work our algebra. This is just minus x up top, and below we have 210 minus x squared, right? Because the sign's just going to disappear since you're squaring it. So, well, what is that? That function, or that, that result of putting negative x into that function is actually negative f of x, right? Because f of x, in other words, f of x is x over the root of 210 minus x squared. Well, this answer is just the negative or the opposite of that. So you actually get negative f of x, which is by definition an odd function. So this is an odd function. And we know, by definition of an odd function, that this integral is going to equal 0. So the integral from negative 10 to 10 of x over the square root of 210 minus x squared dx is equal to 0. So again, the task at hand was, let me quick recap here. I'm sorry about this. I don't know what's going on with this app. The task at hand is to determine whether the integrand here is even or odd. And to do that, you replace x, all the x's, with negative x and get an answer. If the answer comes out to be the opposite of just plain old f of x, then you have an odd function. If it comes out to be simply f of x, you have an even function. So if instead this answer came out to be this, then it would have been even. However, it came out to be this, and it was odd.